Hello everybody and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this card. For this you're going to need a pen that can write in white ink. So I have my white pen right here. Then you're going to need your stamp and blending brushes. And this is the fifth and final video featuring the stencils out of the 2021 March Paper Pumpkin Kit. For this card, I use the color Misty Moonlight, Shaded Spruce, and Night of Navy, as well as the Peaceful Moment stamp set, and some white cardstock. And also make sure you have things to mask around you. I made a mask out of the stencil, which if you look back in the fourth video in the series, I'll show you how I made it. So, oh, and don't forget to get your scrap paper out. So I have my scrap paper. This is just so you don't get ink all over your desk, like I did. Alright, so first you're going to take your white piece of paper and you're going to take your mountains. I'd say put them up at about like 2/3 to the top of the page. Also, mask to the side of it is not to get any extra ink where you don't want extra ink. Alright, then we're going to open our shaded spruce ink pad. And we're going to take our green brush. Don't forget to brush off on the side of your paper. So do your best to make sure your stencil is straight before you start brushing. And then you're going to start near the top of the mountain. See what I mean? And then you're going to go very light towards the bottom because you're going to try and blend out the line at the end between where the stencil is and where the rest of the paper is. So as you can see, the line is basically non-existent at the bottom. And then on this side, we're going to continue to use this side of the stencil. To give us a nice flat line right there. I might kind of free blend up into that a little bit. What I'm saying is just make sure you have a mountain line there somewhere just to make this a little bit more stark. Like that. And then make sure when you're done you just blend out all your little lines. Alright, then I'm going to take more shaded spruce, brush off, make sure I get all the gunk off that's going to make it look bad. And then start in the bottom corners if it's really dark, because the dark just kind of presents itself well there. And then blend it in. And I did a better job this time. You can't even see the line where the stencil was. Alright, now we're going to use our mask. For the mask, I just put paper under the stencil, traced the stencil, and turned it into a mask. So, we are just going to start with the edge, which is over here. I put my stencil over it. And then we're going to put a stencil over the flat edge right there. Then make sure you close your green ink pad. Don't do what I did and put blue in the green. It doesn't mix well. And I'm going to start with Night of Navy. Now, Night of Navy is a really dark blue, so you have to be very gentle with it. And you're only going to go in the sides and in the corners. You're kind of going to ignore the middle for the most part. As you can see where I'm brushing off, Night of Navy is a great color, but it's very dark. So just be careful, is all I'm saying. You get the idea. Be careful not to blend it too dark in any places, because it tends to get extra dark extra quickly. So I typically, with Night Navy, I won't start at my edge. I'll start in the corner and work down to my edge, because I know how dark it gets. As you can see here, is definitely the best way to get a nice, smooth border. I think I'm actually going to use the top half of my stencil here because it'll kind of fit better with this gap here that I'm looking at. That's actually perfect. Okay. We're just going to put a little flat stencil right there. And then I'm going to go into my ink, brush off again, start in the corner, and then make my way right up and around. Like that. And that's going to give you a really dark outside with a really light middle. So, to combat the light middle, we're going to use a lighter blue, which is actually technically the same shade of blue as Night Navy. It's just a lighter version. And it looks really good in the middle, so. But we are still going to leave some white in the middle. Just, like, not super white, but we're going to leave a little bit because it'll make it look more, like, real. So, take our little mask that I got going here. Take my nice blue blender. Try to make sure you get all the ink out of it. And then I'm going to just dip it in the Misty Moonlight. Brush off on the paper, brush off on the paper twice. Do whatever you gotta do to make it look good. And then we just gonna kind of blend the outside into the super duper light middle. We can make the blue a little darker, like around the shading, but then that is that for that card. And then you're gonna take your green ink pad. You're going to stamp the thank you stamp from the Stamp Set Peaceful Moments in Shaded Spruce. Go very gentle so that you don't get a halo. And make sure it stamps nice and dark on the paper. Like that. Then you can take your white pen of choice and make sure you scribble it on the scrap first to make sure it's good and running. And then you're just going to do dots and make them look like stars. Kind of random. Random stars look the best. So that's the end of the stars. And then you're going to take your white card base, fold it in half. It's best if you get rid of your scrap paper at this point because it's very inky. And you can just throw it in your nearest trash barrel. And then you're just going to flip it over, put a little bit of adhesive on the back, which I'm using Stamp and Seal Plus, my favorite adhesive. And then I'm going to stick it on my card base. The border on this one's on the thinner side, but that is the card. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!